my palms are already sweaty. That's because this video is about handling political questions for interview and onstage question. My background is with the Miss America program, which heavily emphasizes local title holders being able to answer questions of any current events nature. Something could literally be breaking news the morning of your interview, and it would be fair game for the judges to ask you later on that same day. I do remember how anxiety-inducing and intimidating this process was for me when I was competing. So if I knew then what I know now, I would have had a much easier time. So I'm distilling my top tips and my strategy for studying called the Pageant Case Method in this video. The Pageant Case Method is actually very simple. You just read news articles. You don't have to read everything. Go for a little bit of every section. Come up with a question that a judge would ask based on that topic. Then answer that question. The first thing you have to develop is a stronger sense of self-awareness. We can all improve in this area. You want to know who you are, what you believe in, your values, and have a comfort level in communicating that. If you're young, it's okay. Self-awareness does come with age and experience, I'll give it that. Being young also has its own advantage. You have a more plastic mind and you're gonna be able to learn as well and pick up things quickly. In addition to having self-awareness, you want to deliver your answers with conviction. This is very important. Judges aren't just looking for the words coming out of your mouth, they're looking for the way you say it, especially with political questions. It's going to be very easy for some of the less experienced contestants to be a bit wishy-washy, a little loosey-goosey, especially if judges are asking follow-up questions to really challenge how strongly you believe in something. So when you're asked a political question, whatever you do, don't be apologetic and don't question it. State your answer with conviction and confidence. If you do get that follow-up question, you want to stick to your opinion. But Crystal, what if I'm asked a hot-button political question that offends people with my answer? Good question. This is where respect comes in. You want to be very respectful in the way that you answer your question. You're not trying to start a debate. Okay? At the end of the day, you represent a larger organization and you're applying for a job to represent the opinions of multiple people, perhaps over a city, over a state, and even the country. So you have to answer in a way that represents multiple people's ability to sign off on the way you said it, okay? They might not be able to agree 100% with what you're saying, especially if it's a super political question, but they have to be able to feel comfortable that, yeah, she represents me, and even though she stated her opinion, she did it in a respectful and diplomatic way. Respectful and diplomatic. When you're asked a political question, imagine that the person who has the opposite viewpoint as you is in that room with you. For example, if I'm asked, Crystal, how do you feel about gay marriage? Now, being from California, I absolutely support gay marriage. I know that. But before I answer that, I imagine someone who isn't from California, maybe someone from a really red state with very traditional values who was very much against gay marriage. I would answer it as, I absolutely understand the importance of traditional family values and the role that Christianity has played in many of our communities. But I also believe in love, and I think love is love. So it's important that gay marriage is made available to those who really believe in it. See, in that answer, I was able to acknowledge the opposing viewpoint before bringing it home with how I really felt. By the way, I'm linking to my media training here, which really comes in handy for questions like this. Another important thing is to keep it simple. Do not make your answers too long. Don't apologize for it. Don't sugarcoat anything, especially with political questions. You want to just answer the question sweetly and then wait for the next question. And now for the actual preparation. How do you acquire the political understanding of what's happening in the world to be able to answer these questions? It is popular belief that you should be reading every newspaper and magazine that you can get your hands on, spending hours in front of the TV watching the news, reading every op-ed, basically absorbing as much information as possible. But when I did this, it was information overload. I was super overwhelmed. I felt like my brain was going to explode because I was reading everything from the front page article down to the style section, comics, and even the obituary sometimes, just to check that box. But reading every letter printed on a newspaper and reading every magazine cover to cover is way too much. What you instead need to do is employ what I call the Pageant Case Method. And the case method is how business school students learn, and it's how consultants get their jobs. What they do is they read a story about a scenario, and then they take a stance. They basically decide how they would solve it if they were the ones in charge, and they discuss it and they debate it. That's essentially what everyone does at Harvard Business School. And same thing with consultants. Consultants are given a set of information and they're asked, hey, how would you solve this? What you need to do is to think like a business school student. Read articles, and when you do read articles, think about the questions that would emerge from that article that a judge would ask you, and then answer that question. Do this for the articles that you read. You want to go for breadth. You don't want to go for depth. Breadth allows you to answer a wide variety of different topics, whereas depth, you might know everything that there is to know about the Affordable Health Care Act, but you're SOL, out of luck, if you're asked about anything else. When you read the news, think about the question that a judge would ask you based on that topic, and then answer that question yourself. This framework is the best way for you to prepare yourself because your head is going to explode just trying to remember facts, but if you're asking yourself and you're critically thinking about what's happening in the news, by asking yourself and then answering those questions, you're already set up for success because you're thinking like a judge, and you might even come up with questions that are similar to what you'll actually be asked. What helped me was also talking to someone in person, in real life, who's a politics nut about the issues happening in the world. For me, that person was my then boyfriend, now husband. But for you, it might be an uncle, if you're lucky, one of your parents. It could be a friend, a neighbor, a teacher at school. Ideally, this person already loves to read the news and has an opinion, but most importantly, can also explain to you the opposing side. You don't want to end up just with an echo chamber of someone telling you what to say. You don't want someone just, shoving messages down your throat. You want someone who's going to be able to answer questions, because the value of having someone in real life is being able to interact. Whenever I read a news article, it's just so static. I'm not able to ask the author questions because it's literally just writing on a page. Whereas a real person, I just found it fed my curiosity, and it helped me develop a more genuine, deeper understanding of the issues at play. Because every article you see in the newspaper, there's a story behind that, and there's a story behind that, and a story behind that. So it's almost like an onion that you peel back layers for, and having someone in real life to bounce those ideas off of and to ask and to mentor you will be really helpful. Last couple things are, you want to respond quickly and go with your gut. Don't pause too long or else you'll psych yourself out. You also want to keep your answers simple enough so that a 10-year-old can understand you. If you are starting to answer something in a really complex way, it's going to be not only harder for the judges to understand you, but you will confuse yourself. You want to speak normal English and just keep it simple so that a 10-year-old can understand it. If you can't explain it to a 10-year-old, you don't understand it enough. And lastly, if you're getting political questions in your personal judge's interview, it is a compliment. It means they think you're smart. It means they think you can handle it. If you're getting follow-up questions to your political questions, even more so. Sometimes judges will try to crack contestants who they think are particularly strong, and it's really a compliment. The judges rarely go hard after a contestant who doesn't have it together. Well, thanks so much for watching my video. Please give it a like and subscribe for future videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.